With the censure vote hanging over his head, Congressman Charles Rangel left the glare of the Washington spotlight to head for home. His car was parked outside his Harlem apartment building Friday, but there was no sign of the embattled lawmaker. Just a few weeks ago, he was reelected to Congress with overwhelming support. But now that Rangel's been found guilty of 11 ethics violations and faces a censure vote, New Yorkers in his district aren't rushing to his defense.
I feel sorry for him at this point in his life that it's come to this, but at a certain age, you know right and wrong.
He did a lot for the community, don't get me wrong, and that was his responsibility. But then what he should do is just, move on with his life.
The House Ethics Committee says Rangel should be censured for breaking ethics rules. Only 22 members have ever been censured in the history of the House. Rangel would be the first in 27 years. A government watchdog in Washington says the proceeding won't be pretty.
It'll be a very bad day for Mr. Rangel, who said he hasn't seen too many bad days since his time in Korea. And there's no question that it is an extraordinarily unusual punishment for the House to mete out.
The last time any members were censured was in 1983. Congressman Dan Crane and Jerry Studs were punished for having sexual relationships with teenagers in the Congressional Page program. A censure requires approval from the full House. Rangel is expected to have to stand in the House chamber while the Speaker reads a resolution disapproving of his conduct and gives him a verbal rebuke. Melanie Sloan doesn't think it's enough.
I do think Mr. Rangel should resign. I think the American public deserves members of Congress who abide by all the ethics rules and federal law.
Former Mayor David Dinkins is sticking up for his old friend. He says Rangel has been sufficiently punished already.
This great, proud man, this hero, this man who has served 40 years in the Congress, 50 years in public service, I think he has been embarrassed and humiliated enough. And I'd see nothing whatever to be gained by further seeking to humiliate him.
A vote by the full House to censure Congressman Rangel is expected sometime after Thanksgiving. In Washington, Grace Rao, New York 1.